What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, talking today about The Last of Us, because it's very fascinating to see that the fanbase around this game has gone from extremely positive to very, very negative in just a couple months. Now, in case you didn't realize, The Last of Us, despite the fact that there are only 2 games in the series, is one of the most celebrated PlayStation exclusives. Not only have they managed to sell millions and millions of copies, but they're some of the highest rated PlayStation exclusives, and interesting enough, they have a very high completion rate. It's like 80% of the people that pick these games up completely finish the main story, which is pretty unique. But something's been happening, which is that people are kind of annoyed now that the developers over at Naughty Dog, they're very, very silent. They're not talking about the future plans of the game, despite the fact that early on, they were very, very talkative about the Last of Us project. Like, here's just a good example here from 2019, and it's going to be the main subject of the story, which is this statement they made about factions. We wanted to address the multiplayer in The Last of Us Part 2. As we've stated, the single-player campaign is far and away the most ambitious project Naughty Dog has ever undertaken. Likewise, as development began the evolution of our factions mode from The Last of Us Part 1, the vision of the team grew beyond an additional mode that could be included with our enormous single-player campaign. Wanting to support both visions, we have made the difficult choice that The Last of Us Part 2 would not include an online mode. Now, if you've never tried it, there is a very, very hardcore, and I do mean the word hardcore, multiplayer component to the original Last of Us. And funny enough, since this got re-released on the PlayStation 4, people are still playing it like crazy. Like seriously, just a couple months ago, I decided to log into it and record all this gameplay. People are still here. They're still leveling up. They're still customizing explosives and stuff to nuke the competition. It's still really, really good. So because of it, people have been wondering why this hasn't come back yet. Why is it that Naughty Dog is just being so silent when clearly at some points they were going to talk about it? So today is their own special holiday. The people that are big fans of The Last of Us, they have this special day that they like to call The Last of Us Day. Previously it was called Outbreak Day, but you know, that's kind of not exactly the okay term anymore. But I logged onto Twitter today to see people talking about Last of Us Day, and I noticed that most people seem to be actually pretty upset, posting angry GIFs, kind of talking about how they feel left behind, which, you know, is a great joke because of The Last of Us Part 1 DLC. There has been absolutely no talk yet about the updates to The Last of Us. And this has left people confused because obviously we got this big professional statement, but more interestingly, we have actually seen the multiplayer already. Now, I can't show you it, but here's a great transcription of it. But a couple months ago when there was that really huge Last of Us Part 2 leak, one of the parts of it was multiplayer, which means that all the way back in April, there was in fact a functioning build of the Factions 2 multiplayer, which definitely leaves more questions open as to why we haven't seen it yet. Why haven't we seen a single screenshot? And at this point, why aren't they just talking about it? Now, I want to scroll down here. Somebody actually did a really good thing, which is that they transcribed it. On August 5th, YouTube account The Irish Lizard posted 12-second gameplay video of what appears to be Factions multiplayer. Now, I want to scroll down here. Here's a great explanation of it, since if I showed you this, even a screenshot of this leaked multiplayer, they would completely take this video down. But let's talk about it. In the brief footage, we see a couple of characters who are fighting each other in a map that takes place in an abandoned neighborhood covered in snow. 2 players take down another player from the opposing team, with the player the footage follows getting kill assist bonus. The footage also briefly shows crafting and inventory systems that appear nearly identical to the base game. Overall, this footage looks quite normal to The Last of Us Part 2 gameplay, with the major difference being the minimap and obviously the 5v5 PvP setup of the match. Now, a lot of people are excited about this. I want to make it a point to say that the reason that people seem to be mad isn't the fact that this is bad. It's mostly just the fact that we're still just having no official word whatsoever from Naughty Dog. So they've been hyping something up that was mysterious for this week. Today specifically, people seem to be very angry because we've been seeing these teases. Last of Us Part 2 multiplayer reveal possibly teased by Naughty Dog. This entire week they've been saying that something special is going to happen this week, that since this is a very unique, Last of Us holiday, this is their day. Everybody's been looking for it for months. People have been saying like, all right, this is our time. This is really our chance to get that big old juice to see what's actually been cooking in the Naughty Dog oven. And it turns out that they are doing nothing. Here it is, Last of Us Day. We just decided to launch a Last of Us 2 vinyl album, which, hooray, that's the soundtrack on record, a new Ellie and Abby poster, and some other new collectibles. Now, when they first launched this website, so many people thought that there might be some hidden clues and stuff. It actually immediately crashed. I managed to get this saved from when it just crashed instantly, but now it's back up. And I'm not going to say that this is like a bad thing. It's just, it's very strange that the way you're going to celebrate your holiday after finally launching your game, after 7 years of waiting, the reward the fans get on their special day is, okay, there's new art posters. That's great. Oh, good. There's a new action figure. This has got to be the funniest thing of all, though, and I have to highlight it. There is an Abby Part 2 cosplay guide, because everybody knows how much people love Abby. So I do know some cosplayers. One of the things you have to do that's very difficult is a lot of times characters are hard to make their costumes because they have all these tiny details. But they kind of don't point out the thing that you kind of need to have most, which is like super buffed up arms. Like if I were making an Abby cosplay guide, it'd probably look like this. Hey there guys, this is the Abby Fitness Guide to make sure you're managing to accomplish your goals, achieve your gains, and most importantly, beat to death your enemies with a golf club, maybe if even they don't deserve it. Now today we're going to be starting off with some good old-fashioned push-ups to make sure we're just really focusing on our objectives. Joel. Okay, so all joking aside, I'm not necessarily saying that this is a bad thing, but I'm just kind of curious because I'm not exactly what I would consider myself like a hardcore Last of Us fanboy anymore. I really enjoyed the first game, but the second game, I strongly disliked the story. Obviously, people kind of call me a Last of Us hater now because I thought that Abby was such a weirdly badly written character. I hate to say that, but honestly, I just thought she was an awful, insufferable psychopath. So the fact that I'm seeing the fan base kind of turn against them and kind of just saying, give us some answers, to me is fascinating. At this point, I actually have to agree with them. My thing is that I'm more curious now about The Last of Us multiplayer than I am even about the further storyline content. I'm not particularly even wondering about more story DLC, more single-player adventures, more offshoots. I'm just curious now as to how the multiplayer is going to operate. The biggest thing is that people have been kind of assuming that this is something that would be baked into the PlayStation 5. Because this game is actually one of the most spectacular looking PS4 games, a lot of people assumed that there was going to be some sort of upgraded version coming to the PlayStation 5. An extra revamped version that maybe we'd get for free or for really, really cheap. And a lot of the fan base had been speculating that maybe we'd see the multiplayer only coming to the PlayStation 5 first, or some sort of weird reward for those of us who are getting the PS5 day one. And it turns out that all we're getting is a big old nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. We're getting t-shirts and posters and absolutely nothing else. But what do you think? Is this whole thing silly to you? Is it kind of ridiculous? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you actually loved the game, tell me how I'm wrong in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. So I actually filmed that goofy skit before the rest of the video, and I'm happy for it. I like to do silly skits sometimes. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.